Welcome to the Dream 100 Show, the epicenter of influence, collaboration, and exponential growth. You're about to discover the power of relationships. Dream 100 relationships. And you're one relationship away from a totally different business and life. This is your host, Michael Tesner.
Hey there, and welcome to episode 002 of the Dream 100 Show. In today's episode, I'm going to give you the Dream 100 framework. And I'm going to give you the framework exactly as the way that you want to look at deploying it. Now, as I'd mentioned in the first episode, the Dream 100 tactics and this methodology as a whole has a 100% success rate. But that asterisk, that caveat, is that it only has a 100% success rate if it's deployed correctly. So I'm going to give you the step-by-step, the paint by numbers. I'm going to give you what I like to call a fortune map. Literally a map starting here and going down to that pot of gold, step by step by step. Now, what you're going to learn as we talk through this methodology and this approach is that there are a lot of different pitfalls that you're going to potentially look at encountering. But if you stick with this, you're going to start to see the fruits of your labor. Now, the other thing that I will share with you is that while this strategy does take some time to deploy, and it's that whole compound effect, we are going to go through some of the different strategies that can help you develop some quick hit wins as well. So let's start. The other fun thing that I like to do is before every episode, I go to ChatGTP and I have it give me 10 random niches so that I can give you different examples across each of the episodes and different examples during the episode so that it doesn't just look at applying it to one thing. Oh, Michael, it's easy to talk about using this for marketing agencies, for example. So I'm going to give you all different types of niches, and we're going to have different niches in pretty much every single episode. So today I'll probably cover 2 or 3 of these 10 that they provided. And I like to do it randomly, and I like to do it right before so that I'm fresh and I can really, it kind of keeps me on my toes for you. So the first piece of the Dream 100 is not necessarily starting to build your list, but figuring out which type of list you're going to build first. And when I say first, you can deploy this Dream 100 strategy across each of these different audiences, but you're going to have to do it with each audience, and you're going to have to do the exact same thing with each of these 100 times. And as you hear the 3 audiences, you're going to see that while there are some crossover, the approach that we're going to use is very, very different. So the first audience that you could look at building for your Dream 100 endeavors is a list of your ideal customers, clients, prospects, the names and or businesses of people that you want to do business with. So the first niche that came up was dog walkers. Pet services, actually, is what it listed. So if I was a dog walker, if I was in pet services, and I was looking at building that first list, I might want to look at building a list of maybe people that own lots of dogs, people that have lots of pets, for example. That, I guess, is a little bit of a tough one, but I would want to look at, like, who are the people that are going to spend the most, where it's probably not the person that has one dog or one cat. Maybe it is some of the shelters, like the SPCA, for example, or people that own or run other shelters that are similar to the SPCA. Or maybe it is getting in with the owners of pet stores. And that's building that list of who would be your ideal customer, your ideal prospect, your ideal client. So if you think about pet stores, for example, and let's say you were to get in with a big pet store brand locally, so let's assume you're doing this locally, they might say, great, we need all of our dogs walked once a day. Our staff doesn't have time to do it, and they're going to give you this huge contract. and that one relationship completely changed your life. So that's audience number one, your best, ideal, perfect customers, clients, prospects. The second audience of Dream 100 that you could build would be the influencers, the media outlets. What are the places that you want to leverage to grow your authority? What are those places that can help you elevate your brand, your business's brand, and your personal brand? The next niche example that it gave me was financial advisors. That's an easy one in terms of you then identifying, great, here if you're local, so you're typically not servicing all of the world. Let's say that you're local to Sarasota, Florida. As we start to talk through the list building, but if you're looking at how would you grow your authority and you would build out that list of the top 100, what are the radio stations, the DJs of those, the different TV stations, podcasts, influential blogs that are going to be read or heard by your target customer. The third Dream 100 audience is the one that I typically suggest focusing on first and putting most of your efforts around. So in this one, the niche that came up was childcare. So let's assume that you have a childcare center. Let's say that you live where I live in the Buffalo, New York area. In this particular audience, you're going to build your Dream 100 list of relationships and businesses that already have your target customer. They already have the people that you want to attract and drive to your childcare center. So you might build a list of similar businesses, martial arts studios, dance studios, gymnastic studios, the YMCA, school aftercare programs, reading centers. You might build up that list, and all of a sudden you have 100 businesses that all have the audience that you are aiming to target to. And now one of those relationships, for example, can get you into the door, into their world, and now potentially completely transform your childcare center. Now, if you look at these three audiences, so we have audience number one, which is your ideal customer, client, prospect. The second one is influencers, media, podcasts, people that can help you grow your authority. And the third one are people that already have your customer on them. They all have some similarities. But the main similarity is that for it to be a true Dream 100, Dream 100 relationship, it has to have the ability to completely change the trajectory of your life and or your business. So while having that list of 100 companies for your dog walking business, for example, I mean, getting one relationship is okay, but it has to be one that could maybe double your sales, for example. So you have to be thinking big enough to not just honing in on 100 people that you know that have 2 or 3 dogs. In terms of the influencers, they have to have the ability to really grow your authority rapidly. And in that case, you also are getting exposed to their audience, but you're getting exposed in a different way. In the third example with the childcare centers, if you own a childcare center and you're looking to grow your enrollment, for example, if your list has all these other businesses that already are successful and they have lots and lots of kids that are enrolled at their particular businesses, so the biggest gymnastics studio in the area, if that one particular gymnastics studio now starts promoting you or exposing their families to what you guys are up to at your center, and that literally could completely transform your center, that makes a Dream 100 relationship. So the first step in this is picking one of those 3 audiences. Now, that doesn't mean that you cannot go after all 3, but you'll notice that the messaging, the approach that you're going to start to take with each of these is different. If you're sending a letter to a business that you're trying to do business with, that letter is different from trying to get on the show of an influencer, for example, or trying to have a partnership with a similar business. The outreach, the messaging, the approach you're going to take is going to be very, very different. So step one is identifying which of these three you're going to start with. My recommendation every single time is that you start with number three. You start with putting together a list of businesses that already have your ideal customers. They already have the relationships that you want to go after, so that if they were to get you in front of them, one of those can completely change the trajectory of your business. Now, after you've picked one of those, the next step is you're going to start to develop your list. And I'm going to have several episodes that are all about developing your list. And the key point here, and this is one of the biggest pitfalls, is that if you develop the wrong list, you are going to be sunk before you even started. And what's tough about this is that if your list is wrong, and you know that this could take 3 to 6 to 12 months to really start to nurture and build those relationships, and your list was wrong from the start, you just wasted 3, 6, 9, 12 months, not only time, lost potential business, but also the money you're going to be investing in building these relationships. So building out that list is the most important step. The most important step. So the next niche that I have, and again, I'm going to talk broad strokes because I'm giving you the overview and the framework of the Dream 100. But the next one that I had was nurseries. So it said plants and nurseries. So if you were taking my recommendation, and that is going after people that already have your ideal customer, before you can even identify those people, you need to do some really deep work inside your business to make sure that you actually know who your ideal customer is. Far too many times I've analyzed businesses, I've done consulting, deploying the Dream 100. So well, tell me who your dream customer is. And they rattle off a bunch of things. Well, this income, they live within 20 miles of this, and a couple of these traits. You need to really develop that ideal customer persona, and there probably is going to be, depending on the size of your business and the nature of your business, like nurseries, for example, you probably are going to have 3 or 4 different personas. One persona is going to be contractors, people that are coming and they're doing lawn care and buying plants for their clients. They're going to be buying stuff a lot more frequently than one-off customers that are coming maybe every year to buy some other plants. So what does that particular business look like? How much money does the contractor typically spend with you? You have to look at your list and the data that you have, and you need to do a lot of data mining before you really start to build out that list, and data mining to really identify those personas. I will drop a worksheet in the comments that you can use to start to build those personas out. But I'd love to have names of the persona so that when I'm thinking about it, if I'm thinking of, okay, great, Larry the landscaper, for example, he's got 3 crews, he's been in business for 7 years, he does hardscapes, he does some lawn mowing, but he focuses more on higher end jobs in these particular areas, so he's buying a ton of high-end trees from us. Plants, he's spending on average $40,000 a year with us, been with us for at least 5 years. These are the other places that he shops. Here's where he hangs out. Like, all of that data needs to go into building out those personas. If you don't know who your perfect customers are, your best customers, and then you start identifying who already has those particular audiences, if you don't know yours, how are you going to identify the right audiences? How are you going to identify the right Dream 100 people if you do not know who your perfect customer is? And an important point to make here is that your best customer is not always the one that spends the most money. It could be the most repeatable and reliable customer. It could be someone that they refer 10, 15, 20 people to your nursery every single year. That they go on Facebook and they talk about how much they love your plants and your trees, and they have a little audience that you didn't even really know they had. So do some really heavy digging into your data, do some surveys, do some like focus groups inside your organization, As I'm talking, I've realized that I definitely need to do at least a few more episodes around this exact topic. But you have to make sure that you know who your ideal persona is. When you have that, then you can start to build out that audience, and you can really start to leverage different tools. You can leverage the Dream 100 software, but you can leverage all these other tools to start to mine and put together that list of the Dream 100 relationships. So if we were sticking with that nursery example, and you were saying, okay, great, our main ideal persona, they're definitely the landscapers. They make up 85% of our business. Great. Now you can start to do some digging. Who has landscapers on their mailing list? Who also is working with landscapers? Maybe it's the business that's selling topsoil because you don't sell topsoil. Maybe it's the company that sells trucks to landscapers or trailers. Maybe it's Home Depot and Lowe's, those local businesses, or these specialty places that sell the lawnmowers. Where are they getting their blades replaced? So you really have to start to think really broadly, and you've got to get in your head of those landscapers. You need to do some really deep work on getting into their mind. You need to do some surveys to figure out where else they're shopping. And again, there's lots of tools that you can use during this process. And as you build out that list, the criteria is that it needs to have at least 100 people. And when I say people, there always needs to be a person at the particular business that you are going after. You can't just list, well, we're going to go after Lowe's locally to the Buffalo, New York area. Who's the store manager? Who are the other people there? You need to start to build out that list of contacts. And when you have that, and again, I'm going to do several other episodes around the deep work and really how to mine that and how to find all their data. This is the broad strokes episode. You've got that list. So you've identified, great, so I want to go after people that have my audience. You've gotten to know who your ideal persona is so that you're clear on, great, I want to go after landscapers, for example, and then you're going to find, I want to go after people that have the audience already. I want to build relationships with them so they can expose me to their landscapers, their customers, and that ultimately is going to be what's going to help me to grow. Now you continue to do some more deep work, and you're going to learn what makes them tick. You're going to learn all the languaging, all the vernacular. You're going to learn everything that you possibly can. You're going to join all the different Facebook groups for landscapers. You're literally going to learn everything inside and out before you start any outreach. You need to do that because your messaging has to be on point. People can spot marketers a mile away. They can spot and tell if you don't know the industry vernacular. Hey, what kind of mower are you using? Like, you need to speak their language so that the message starts to hit and resonate and break through that noise. We're trying to break through the noise, and we're going to do that by moving on to the next step. So you've got these people identified, and you've learned the vernacular, and now you're going to craft different types of messages. And the messages are going to be for letters you're going to send. They're going to be for emails. They're going to be for direct messages on social media. You're going to start to craft those messages of what can resonate to get you in front of them. That's going to be a soft sell. And you're going to build out the messaging campaign. And again, like everything, there's going to be plenty of episodes around how to build out this messaging. But it's got to be in multiple different formats. Because what you're going to find as we move on to the next stage, and that's to start your outreach, we're going to ethically stalk them, and we're going to stay on them like white on rice. We're going to learn everything that we can about these people. We're going to learn everything by looking at their Facebook, all their social media. We're going to do some deep work on every single one of these relationships. The more data that we have, the better. So if I'm sticking with that landscaper example, and then I'm saying I want a list of Dream 100 businesses that already have landscapers. And let's say you find the local John Deere, for example. Great. So we've identified that. We know the vernacular. I'm going to put the manager, the assistant manager, maybe even one other person on a list. And then I get to work and I learn everything I can about those 3 people. Everything that I can find online without it being overly stalkerish. And then I leverage that data, that information, along with all the industry vernacular and some really great messaging, and I'm going to start the campaign. And I'm going to start off soft, and I'm going to start to work my way up. I'm going to try an email. I'm going to try friending them on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. I'm going to start commenting on their social media with helpful, authentic comments. I'm going to start liking all their posts on their local John Deere page. I'm going to start to build that up, and I'm going to try different messaging, and I'm going to be doing it so that it's so personalized. And that's the key with the whole philosophy around the Dream 100, is that rather than having to market to the entire universe, you're honing in on 100 relationships. And we only need one relationship. We're going to get more than one, but we only need one that ends up turning into something to change that trajectory of your business. So think about all the mowers that the John Deere location is probably selling. So they probably have hundreds, if not thousands, of landscapers, probably hundreds if you're a local area. But they're probably selling to all the biggest landscapers. So picture that. If the manager or the owner of that particular location says, great, let's talk. And I'm skipping a few of the bits and pieces to this, but if they say, well, let's talk, and you end up doing something together, and now all of a sudden they're promoting your nursery on social media, and they're telling your landscapers about you, like it's game over in a good way. So you've got that audience crafted, you've learned about all the people that are on your Dream 100 list, and you start your outreach. And the key with this is that this is the long game. It's hitting daily singles. It's commenting and doing certain things every single day, regardless of how long it takes. Because they're going to eventually start to see your stuff. They're going to eventually respond to an email. They're going to eventually respond to a text message or a phone call. And what you're going to do as this strategy starts to evolve is that you're then going to work in gifting. You're going to send some personalized gifts, and the level of the gifts is going to get bigger depending on the relationship. As they start to build some points within your outreach, and the way that people get points with us is they respond to an email, for example. They comment on your comment. So they've at least shown that they've seen you, they might have some interest. Then maybe we're going to start with a $20 gift card, but you're going to send it to their favorite coffee place because you've done that research. And then we're going to hit them up again, have coffee on me, hope you enjoy it. And we're going to try different types of outreach and strategies. And these all vary based on the industry. They vary based on the type of relationship that you're going after. There's certain gifts that you can use versus not use. Like there's certain restrictions on gifts, for example. Certain people that can't accept gifts. So it's got to be tailored to the individual. And that's the key to this entire approach, is that it's so personalized, but you have all this amazing data. You've got the data, you're armed with all of that, and you're just continuing. Daily singles. Getting that stuff out each and every single day until they tell you, please stop contacting me. I have no desire to ever do anything with you. Then they get removed from our list. And then I add another business so that I always have at least 100. I typically am starting with about 115, 120. Some of them might be a no right out of the gates. They might say, no, we can't do anything. And sometimes a no isn't necessarily a no. And they're usually not giving me a no right away because I'm starting off building the relationship, providing things of value. And we're going to talk all through that in future episodes of what do you actually send? What's the offer? What's the ask? What are you trying to get them to do? And that is not a one-size-fits-all, so we'll talk through lots of different examples. Now, the final piece to this is that you're going to consistently track and you're going to analyze all of these relationships. So let's say, and I'm boiling this down to massive simplicity. Got 100 relationships, great. We sent 100 direct messages on Facebook over the course of a week. You're going to track that. How many responses did you get? 10, 50, 0, great. You're tracking that. You sent 100 emails, 100 direct messages on Instagram. You commented on 500 posts. How many of those got replies? All of this is driven by data. It's so meticulous so that we can start to see what's landing. We want to see what message is working, what needs to be tweaked. We want to see if one certain gift resonates better than another. Did you sending a custom pen that had wood from their college alma mater, did that seal the deal and help get them on the phone with you immediately? Or was it the brownies, for example? You track all this stuff so that you can continue to improve your system and get better and better. The prize at the end of this is these relationships then start to develop. One relationship hits, and you build that into whatever that looks like, a partnership, a referral relationship, a joint venture, whatever that looks like for your business. A referral relationship. Then you continue developing. You're continuing to go on, great, who's the next relationship that's going to drop? Who's the next one? So you end up building it so that over time, it's not one relationship. It could be 5, 10, 15, and you're continuing to do this. And you're doing it with precision. Rather than marketing to the entire world, rather than having to invest all of your money, if you were this nursery, for example, of continuing to brand and put yourself on billboards, what if instead of using that money to go to a billboard or radio or tons of direct mail, you redirected that money at gifts for businesses that already have your customers and putting together different ways to reach out to those people? Think about that. Think about the money that you could potentially save, but also, again, it is that whole piece of one relationship can completely change the trajectory of your business. All you need is one relationship. That is the framework to the Dream 100. Now, the pitfalls, the biggest pitfall is going after the wrong audience. So you don't know who your target customer is, and then that ends up being a terrible path that you go down. The second biggest pitfall is the outreach doesn't work because you didn't personalize it. You just tried to have one email that went to 100 people. You didn't personalize everything. But the biggest thing that I see is that you give up too early. You give up. Now, they didn't even say thank you for the gift I sent. They didn't respond to my LinkedIn message, my multiple voicemails. If this was easy, everyone would be doing this exact same thing. This takes time to marinate. It takes time to compound. But again, one relationship can completely change the trajectory. And that is why this strategy is the best strategy to deploy to grow your business. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, giving you an overview of the Dream 100, how to execute it, and the different steps. Tune into the next episode. We're going to continue delivering lots and lots of value and unpacking everything relating to the Dream 100. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. See you in the next episode.